Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have another interesting game to share with you. On the white end, Grandmaster FeegLood on lichess, playing against LeelaKnightOdds, no king knight. This was played October 13th. Time control, 5 minutes each, no increment. FeegLood feeling brave and confident playing this control. We have a Sicilian defense with c3, a delayed Alapin. White looking to build in the center. We see just that. And Leela's reaction to it, carry on with development. No king knight, I can already castle. Invasive pawn, nearby, even more invasive. Okay, Leela says you've gone far enough. Bishop e2, we play with a locked center. Castles. Pop quiz, what move do you think Leela plays here? Feel free to pause the video. All right, Leela plays king h8. After this, Leela looks forward to establishing a pawn on white side of the board with g6, f5, f4. You have a pawn on my side of the board in the center. I want one on f4. Black pawn on f4, king already committed on the king side. This can be very dangerous for white. Why is it important to maybe first include king h8 before going for this idea? Well, if you begin with g6, after bishop h6, where does the rook go if you want to save it? You only have e8, and e8 is not ideal. What's preferable is g8. When the rook is on g8, you're opposite the king, and you're also hinting at g5 and a quick rook g6, and just like that, the bishop is trapped. There aren't too many ways to extract this bishop, but if there's a rook on g8, it is not far off. So we have here, first, king h8. Queen knight's favorite square has opened up. We see the pawn advances. Bishop h6 hits. And sure enough, rook g8. This is already a threat. g5, rook g6. White's approach is to pitch a pawn and in the process track down a bishop for knight exchange. This is the bad bishop that ends up getting exchanged here. We see this idea to clamp down on g5. Leela picks up the pawn, knight for bishop exchange, bishop under fire, have to find a new home. From here it's bishop d2. If you try to just babysit the bishop, okay, f4 is there, and this piece will soon fall. So it's bishop d2, f4, sure enough, two invasive pawns. From here, d6, base point under fire, queen has to play a little defense, falls back to e7, and now white pursues a bad for good bishop exchange. Let's get rid of this pesky knight. Bishop exchange. Knight doesn't have to move just yet. Queen g4. Rook back to g8. Knight c3. Another pop quiz. What move would you play here? Feel free to pause the video. All right, from here we have g5. Now, if you develop the knight to its only safe square, queen e6 would be there. The knight on d7 gives this queen an additional responsibility. After queen e6 in this position, you wouldn't be able to maintain queens while also defending these 2 points. So we have first g5. This opens up a key square for the rook. Follow up f3. If queen e6 here, the queen can back off to f8, for instance. Base point covered. Queen post can soon be challenged. All right, white makes some room for the king to flee. This here being the idea. Knight d7 played only now with the pawn on g5 rather than g6. Queen e6 hits, but in this position, there's queen d8. Evil Leela setting a trap. White too good to fall for this one. Just spends a few seconds on this. Continues with king f2. Queen captures pawn, rook g6 is there. The queen is trapped. Sneaky. King f2. Get out of my house. Queen h4. Knight f6. So with a little backward development, queen going back home, this knight finally on a fantastic square. In a spot to do multiple things. Defend h7, potential mate threat, and you're there to support this break. g4 is what we see. Pawn takes, rook a g1, queen d7, g3 break, rook's doubled up. Pop quiz, what's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. All right, white's move is king e1. After this, the evaluation dips to about plus 0.8. The top moves here, it's pointing out a4. Also rook f1. Let me touch on each briefly. After h4, a4, what we might see is this idea of a rook lift, followed by triple trouble on the G file. Also, in the case of rook f1, computer notes, this is Stockfish 17.1 at least, notes capture on g3 and play this position here where it's two pawns versus two passed pawns versus the dark square bishop. This point could be covered as a rook lift or rook falling back to g6 to defend. Okay, what's the story in this position here if white captures on f4 rather than the move in the game, king e1? If you capture on f4, it's winning for black. There would follow rook captures rook. White doesn't have time to recapture, the queen would fall. And if white tries to first address this tension, release the tension with queen captures queen, black can, for instance, first include this check on g2, addressing the threat on g1, and only then collect the queen. Black is winning there, playing up the exchange. Okay, how white plays it at this stage. King e1, queen g7, queen h6, queen exchange declined, knight e2, f3. Another pop quiz. What's your move? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, there's only one move that keeps white in the game, and he finds it. It's rook f1. Now, this last move carries two threats. Knight is hit, and there's also this idea to play f2 check. So for instance, if the knight reacts here, this move is going to sting with the fork, attracting the king to a more vulnerable square. Rook g3 to follow. This here is a deadly threat. Knight g4 is a double check. The queen falls. And that's how it wants to run it after rook captures rook. Knight g4 straight away. Okay. The only move in this position played, rook f1. From here we have rook 8 to g6. If you take the knight, this knight hangs. So Leela addresses this pressure on f6 with tempo. Another pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, white does not find the way at this point. He plays it where he gives up the queen, ends up taking on f3, and looks to work on this pinned knight in the end. This turns out to be faulty. The only way to play this position is with queen h3. There's really a beautiful, this queen h3 is really a beautiful line. This is how it runs. If black now takes on e2, there's rook captures knight. No time to take with the queen, there'd be checkmate. You'd have to take with the rook, give this rook up, allow this check, don't bite. There'd be recaptures in either direction, promotion to a queen for mate, queen recapturing for mate. You'd have to take the pawn, and it calls this position here equal. Potentially looking at a perpetual check here, a g4 and c8, and also points out if the queen is blocking queen f5, another drawn position. This here is an idea for white. A couple moves it has its eye on, rook h2 check, and also h6, keeping the bishop out of g5. Okay, it calls this equal. Pretty lengthy line to calculate well for this time control. White at the end of the day does not find the way. He captures on f3. Queen falls, and this threat on f6 can be addressed with rook g6. g4, queen g7, knight unpinned, and from here g5, move 34, knight takes e4, white resigns. The final imbalance here, this is first of all completely winning for black. We're looking at a queen and pawn versus rook and bishop. No hope here. Let's say there's a rook exchange, bishop hit, g5 hit, g5's ready to fall, and from there black's going to, I'm sure, go hunting for that white king, rounding up pawns along the way, pushing past pawns. No hope here for white. Your thoughts with this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.